Hi, everyone. This is Steve Dellasan, and welcome to this week's edition of CEOs You Should Know. I'm thrilled to be joined by Tom First, the founder and CEO of Culture Pop Soda. Tom, thanks for being here today.
Good to be here. Nice to meet you.
We're excited to dive into the conversation, learn more about you, and learn more about Culture Pop Soda. So let's jump into it. I know that you started in the beverage industry, co-founding Nantucket Nectars at just 22, and you really helped define that entire category. Looking back, what were some of those lessons that you learned very early on?
I mean, honestly, probably the biggest one was to never give up. I mean, it was tough. I was a 22-year-old kid. Um, to date myself, there was no internet. There were no cell phones. I was living on an island, and it was at a time when a lot of people, weren't starting businesses.
Yeah.
So, my partner Tom Scott and I started a company on a boat selling juice, and ended up manufacturing and figuring out all that stuff and distribution, and grew the brand. So kind of fell in love with the beverage industry. It's a really creative industry. You're making products that people really care about. They align their lives with. We were making what was at the time a better for you juice a long time ago, and it was at sort of the dawn of the changing of sort of food and drinking habits for Americans. It was like we were one of the early products that was like a little bit better for you at the time,
That's awesome.
and it's sort of an insurgent brand. And the industry has changed so much in the last 20 years, where a lot of people are creating products that are made with better ingredients.
That's awesome. I know that since then, you spent decades working along other emerging food and beverage companies as well before you founded Culture Pop, right? What were some of the patterns or gaps that you noticed within the overall industry that ultimately led you to that entrepreneurship?
I think that, I mean, the biggest gap is that the big companies that make food products are driven by like efficiency and inexpensive ingredients, and
Sure.
and really sort of the incumbent way that they make products. So a lot of these brands that you see that are newer, that have different ingredients, they're doing it a hard way. They're doing it differently. The factories sometimes aren't set up for it, or the consumer, doesn't know about these products because the big brands control all the marketing dollars. So those are big barriers to growth. But I think one thing that's happened over the last, however many years, is that people that walk into stores are looking for items today that are better than what, they have better ingredients, they read labels, they care about, less processed foods. So it makes it at least a little bit easier for us to build companies. But I looked at the soda industry in particular. It's the biggest industry in all of beverages. It started as a health tonic. That's
Hmm.
what Coca-Cola created, was is herbs and spices and something that was supposed to be good for your stomach. That's what ginger ale was. But soda really over many years became something
I was gonna say,
totally
kind of
different.
went a
Yeah,
totally different path, right?
yeah. I mean, it's, preservatives and colors and all sorts of sweeteners. And honestly, my goal with Culture Pop was to make something that took soda back to its roots, really trying to use ingredients where if someone picked up our can and turned it around and read the label and read the ingredient panel, I'd be very proud of everything that they read. And we make soda with no sweeteners. We sweeten with real organic fruit juice. We use herbs and spices. We've got a live probiotic, which is good for your stomach.
Yeah.
So and look, in other food categories, that's how people are thinking about building their brands, is finding better ingredients and to deliver better health outcomes for people.
Absolutely. I know you always weren't always in the beverage industry, right? You were an American history major, and you said building beverage brands felt like the liberal arts of businesses, right?
Yeah.
How did that non-traditional background, not being in the beverage industry, get you and develop that approach once you took that entrepreneurship?
I mean, it's funny when you start a business. I think you think that people who are in the industry that are, that dominate it are experts. I mean, it's like when I started in the beverage industry as a 20-something-year-old kid, I was like, oh, the people from Coke and Pepsi, they must be like beverage experts. Like and I'm, a total novice. I think what you learn after a while is by doing, you become the expert. And when at Nantucket Nectars, Tom and I, early days, we were making the product, we were delivering the product, we were working in the warehouse, we were driving the truck and van, we were interacting with the retailers. Honestly, we became experts. And a lot of it is by doing, and you can figure things out. So honestly, there were things where people would tell us, this is how you do it. I'll give you one example. Early on at Nantucket Nectars, our product was 99 cents. At that time, fruit juices that were in bottles were 69 cents. And everyone who we thought, knew the industry was like, you guys will never sell a bottle of juice for $1. It will never happen. And we didn't change our price. We're like, we're leaving it at $1. It's expensive to make. It's a better product. And the experts were wrong and we were right. And a little bit of that is like, we didn't come from the industry. He was an American civilization major. I was an American history major. But, I will say, like, it is, products that are consumer products that are the people relate to. And in building companies like this, it is like a liberal arts education. We're doing art, we're doing science, we're doing communication. So it's very fun. And that's why I'm probably still doing it.
Yeah, it's a great analogy, too.
Yeah.
And it kind of allowed you to have that experience of learning all the different pieces of the industry, too, when you're in that startup role.
Yeah, I mean, we had to. We had no choice because either, we couldn't find a distributor, so we had to distribute ourselves, or, we couldn't, we were making something totally different that people hadn't made before. So we couldn't make it the way everyone was making it in a factory. So we had to set up our own way. When we started Nantucket Nectars, it was, everybody used high fructose corn syrup. When I started Culture Pop, we were trying to take herbs and spices and put them into a soda. We had giant tea bags in a juice blend, like almost steeping it into Culture Pop to create that flavor. No one ever had done anything like that for a soda. So when you're building a company, as crazy as it is, you have to do things differently. And honestly, in the end, that's what consumers appreciate.
That's awesome. So after being an investor, advisor on so many different brands, how does it feel different this time being a founder at Culture Pop?
I mean, one thing is I'm older. Obviously, I've done this before. I know the industry well. And some people think, well, you're starting Culture Pop Soda. You have so much experience. You'll just automatically be successful. And that isn't how it works. Like every product has to stand on on its own. It's got to taste great. It's got to look great. I'll tell you, it doesn't feel that different to me. I feel like, I started out grinding, delivering it on my own out of the back of my car, started hiring the first people in the company who joined it, who took the risk on joining a little company. And then it's a matter of like growing and building culture and, hopefully developing a team of people that really believe in what you're doing, and then, communicating that to consumers to explain we're doing soda differently. We use way better ingredients. We don't use stevia and erythritol and tons of sugar. And we were, figuring out a way to reach as many people and tell them that you can enjoy a soda, you can taste something that's different, have a different experience. Same type of work I was doing when I was 25 years old.
That's awesome. So Culture Pop challenges those long-held norms within the soda industry, right? We talked about no refined sugar, no sweeteners, less sweetness overall. How does that innovation lead when you're trying to convince decades long of consumers having that previous condensation around sodas?
I'll tell you, it is tough. I mean, one thing is the soda category is driven by sweetness. You have decades of whatever it is, 160 calories and 30 grams of sugar, and that's what people expect when they drink a soda. And we're, with Culture Pop, we're creating a bunch of flavor without sugar or putting like a high intensity sweetener like stevia in it.
Sure.
So the work is getting people to try it, to understand what we're making, that it's created with real ingredients, like totally unprocessed foods, no processed sugars or anything. We feel like once someone tries our drink and they have it like one or two times, actually drinking something overly sweet and super sweet, kind of fake tasting, becomes unappealing to them.
Yep.
And so, It's a lot of work for us. It's like trying to get that first trial, trying to get the repeat trial, to experience a soda that has real ingredients, to not think that everything you have to drink or eat is like super sweet or over salted. But ultimately, you do change people's expectations of food and
Yep.
flavor, and the people who come to love our brand are just incredibly loyal.
That's awesome to hear. We talked about this a little bit earlier, right? You described the analogy of being an art to create the soda, right? How do you balance the creativity and the discipline when you're leading a brand that blends so many things together, like the art, the science of it, and of course the business side so closely together?
Yeah, I mean that the I love the art part of building it. I think that you need to have, what I would say is like, you need to have great people in the business, that can do the things that need to be done. And as a founder and an entrepreneur, you need to know what you're good at. I would say, I mean, I know finance. I've been doing this for a while. I don't think it's my passion, and I don't think I'm the best CFO in the world. So I've got an incredible operator in the business and a great CFO and an operation team that I rely on. I will say, like, I do love the art side of it. I love the creativity of packaging and creating flavors and sourcing ingredients. And our product, Culture Pop, it's like a very culinary product. So I
Yeah.
enjoy the process of, like, we look at, mixology recipes and even food recipes to understand how to pair herbs and spices with different fruits, and then we try to recreate them in the form of a soda. So I will say I spend probably more time and energy and emotion on that side of the business than I do on the finance side of the business. But ultimately, I would say for people who are building a business, if you're building a business, we're all salespeople,
Yep.
and learning how to sell and communicate what we're creating to
Sure.
other people is so important. If you're growing up in the industry and you can't sell, if you can't sell someone to invest in your business, or a retailer to buy your product, or consumers to taste your product, it's going to be tough. So sales is a big part of it too, and I like that part.
Absolutely. I love the packaging too.
Oh,
You
thank you.
guys did a
Yeah.
great job there. You described Culture Pop as really filling a void within the soda industry, right? It's kind of this challenger brand that's coming in to hopefully disrupt things in a good way. How do you define the success of the brand over the next 5, 10 years?
I mean, first of all, I'd say for consumers that are, or people that are out there looking at the grocery stores, there's a wave of, it's being called modern soda.
Okay.
Modern soda brands that have hit the shelves. People know Poppy and Olipop
Yep.
and a few other brands, and Poppy, Olipop, and Culture Pop were kind of the first three in the
Of their
industry.
kind,
But
yeah.
we've, if you had asked people 7 years ago, is the traditional soda aisle going to be disrupted with modern brands that are going to become a multi-billion-dollar category? No one would have believed it.
Yeah.
We've become a multi-billion-dollar category that's growing at
Awesome.
high double-digit rates. And a lot of it is, younger people didn't grow up with a traditional soda on the dinner table.
Yep.
And so I think that products like Culture Pop are bringing younger consumers that actually care about health, that pay attention to ingredients, into the soda category. And we're the products of the next generation. So for us, defining success is just reaching more people, bringing both soda drinkers back into the category who have left the category,
Yep.
or younger drinkers into the category that probably wouldn't otherwise go there.
That's awesome. You just talked about having soda at the dinner table, right? I think the unique thing is that Culture Pop fits into so many different moments outside of just the dinner table, right? It could be a post-workout drink, could be a mocktail, it could be at your family gathering. How intentional is when you created it to be that drink anytime type of can?
I mean, it was intentional. I mean, first of all, the culinary part of it, we certainly knew that it was like good as a mocktail. I think that I always believed that something that wasn't in the soda category, something that wasn't sticky sweet or overly sweet, could make people want to drink it even for breakfast. Like our orange mango, which is nicely sweet but not super sweet, is great in the morning, and you don't have to
Awesome.
feel bad about drinking
Yeah.
the soda. And also because it isn't super sweet, like you can crush one after a run or a bike ride. So yeah, it's a very versatile product. It does have a live probiotic in it that's good for your stomach. Um, so it was intentional to make it a really versatile drink that could be used on a bunch of different occasions.
Definitely a smart move.
Yeah.
I know you have some exciting partnerships that were announced. Your partnership with Noah Khan and the Busy Head Project. Those really mark that first like celebrity project and collaboration that you've done. How do those partnerships align with what Culture Prop's broader mission and values really stand for?
I think if you've heard what I've said about making the product, we use real stuff. We use organic herbs and spices. We use the live probiotic. There's really not a lot of ingredients in it, and I think a lot of consumers that have come to love our product appreciate that. I think the personality of the company has just been being regular people, being real. Um, and so I think we are attracted to relationships with people who are sort of everyday, regular, real people that people can relate to. And Noah Khan is like the quintessential example
Love
of
Noah
that.
Khan.
He's just, and we kind of met him. He's a New England guy. A lot of people in our office obviously love him, but when you get to know him, he's everything he appears to be. He's a very hardworking, caring, good human. And the Busy Head Project is not it's not a marketing thing. This is so dear to his heart. We're involved in it. And our black cherry flavor, which is, out there in Noah's name, also supporting the Busy Head Project, is a good example of tying like a real product to a real person. And I think most of our relationships that we've had with celebrities have come that way. We haven't like chased down movie actors or fashion people or big time influencers. And not that we don't work with influencers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of influencers that love our product and come to us, and those are fantastic relationships with us. But we don't want it to be really transactional. We want it to fit, sort of the way our brand speaks to people in the first place.
Love to hear that. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Obviously, soda is one of the biggest industries and also one of the most competitive industries. What are some of the biggest obstacles or challenges you've been noticing within the industry?
Look, I think the biggest obstacle is like any other business. Capitalism is competitive and challenging, and you got to be great. So, this is about building a business, and we have to make a great product. We have to, as you said, we have to have great packaging. We have to be good at communications. We have to figure out how to reach a lot of people through advertising. We have to have good finance people in the background, like making sure that we, have good unit economics in our business. So, I mean, I think no matter what the category is, we're in a big one with a lot of headroom in it. But ultimately, it's about running a good business, building a team of people that truly care, like treating them well, like having people aren't going to want to be a part of your business if they don't like being there, they don't believe in what you're making. And so we at Culture Pop, we work really hard at that. Like it is like a family, and we care about what we're doing, and people are fully bought in because we were on sort of a common mission to change the soda industry.
That's great. I know that right now, obviously, you're the founder of the company. You've had various roles in between. I love the story about the startup and really kind of being every single role within it. Are there any lessons or skills that stand out to you when you look back that you had to learn the hard way?
I mean, so many. I think that early on, when you start a business, you take a lot of bumps and bruises, and at some point you may not even believe you're going to get there. I would say I have always been the type of person where I have high expectations. Like I kind of believe like it's going to, it's good. The product's going to be everywhere. People are going to love it. And when you set high expectations, it's kind of the only way to achieve big things. If your expectations are down here somewhere, you're never going to get where you really want to get if that's what you want. So I sort of learned early on to set the goal pretty high and go shoot at it. I have high expectations of myself, and then try to get other people in the company who lived, sort of lived that mission. They had high expectations. If someone's in marketing, like they wanted to be the greatest marketing company in the world. If they were making product, the product has to be great. If you're on my team and you're helping formulate, we're not going to make it average. We're going to make it great. And so if you can do that, you can probably survive what is a very tough world of capitalism. It's unrelenting, and there's always someone that's trying to be better than you are. So to me, it's all about having really high expectations. And ultimately, if you do that and you make a great product, you can reach the high expectations of consumers because their expectations are high also.
For sure. Piggybacking off of that, because that was great advice. If an entrepreneur or someone that wants to be an entrepreneur is tuning in right now, what advice would you wish you could give yourself way back when you first started this venture?
One thing I would say is that I've had a lot of people over the years have ideas that come to me. Oh, I have this business idea. And I think the biggest single reason that people don't become successful is because they actually don't even start. And so I would say, like, if you really are passionate about something, the biggest part of getting to where you want to go is actually starting the business. And if you are a competitive person, you really believe in what you're doing, it's taking the first step. I've always said, like, building a business is like hiking up a mountain. And it's like when you're at the bottom of the mountain, you can't see anything. You have no perspective. And then you sort of start building the business and you get part of the way up the hill and you're like on this path. And then you turn around and you look at where you got from. You're like, oh, that's where I parked the car. And there's that area over there. And then you go a little further up the hill and you have more perspective. And that's what I've found in all my businesses, that like I get going and I learn more about where I am, where the product is, what the category is. And it's a journey. And if you believe in what you're doing, you believe in yourself, you set high expectations, each moment is a moment to get better. And then you have more perspective and hopefully you can build something. But you have to start. You have to start the business first.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about a lot of exciting stuff. What is next for Culture Pop? What are some of the things that are in the developments or news to come?
So we just rolled out our NoahCon Black Cherry product, which, the packaging is so fun, and it really, I think, embodies Noah, and he's coming with his new album and tour soon. So that's exciting. And then we're rolling out a raspberry lemonade, which I think... it's a really great flavor. It's got a fun label. And I think this will be the beginning of us doing some fun things with lemonade maybe over the next couple of years. So those are the big things on the product front. But and then it's like summer's coming, so we got to go work our butts off.
Love that. Well, we covered a lot. But if there is anything you want the listeners to know, like, as the core of your mission or something we might have missed, what would that be?
I would just say, hey, look, it's a great category. The fact, you walk into the soda aisle and look what's happening in that aisle. There's a bunch of new brands. We truly are doing it differently. If you're a soda drinker and you're addicted to super sweet, maybe we're not for you. But if you want something that has a nice level of sweetness, that doesn't use sweeteners, better ingredients, and probably you will get addicted to it. And then you'll feel really good about yourself after you have your second or third one. You'll be drinking all the time. You'll be like, I've kicked the sweet habit. I've kicked the sweetener habit. No refined sugar. It's like fruit juice, organic spices. I think Culture Pop is probably for a lot of people that don't even know it yet.
That's awesome. And if someone's listening that wants to try Culture Pop or wants to learn more, what should they do?
You can go to our website. You can walk into any Whole Foods or Albertsons, a bunch of Walmart. Ask your grocery store. We're in a lot of places now. So go shop the aisle and buy many of them.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to try myself.
Thank you.
Tom, thank you so much for being here today. Loved hearing your journey, your background, and learning all things about Culture Pop.
Well, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
We appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning in for this week's edition. Tune in next week for next week's edition of CEOs You Should Know.